on inclusion, and I think society's come so far, but we've still got a long way to go.
Yeah.
And inclusion, and I found in our lives, inclusion, people like to include when it suits them.
Yep.
A lot of time kids will try harder to include someone like Brody or anyone that's a little bit different when their parents are around, when other people's parents are around, or if you're in a situation that warrants that. But once that's worn off, or you're in everyday life, then they go back to their own lives. And kids are so cliquey anyway. Anyone that's a little bit different,
yeah,
they're on the outer. So if you've got someone who's so different,
yeah,
then that's really hard. So I remember when Brody was at preschool at Gerringong, so he went to Noah's Ark, which is a special needs early intervention centre. And
does
then
some fantastic work. Yep.
Does do fantastic work. Would have been lost without Noah's Ark, but that's a whole different topic on its own.
Yeah.
Brody went to Gerringong preschool, which was great. He had a great time there, but he has a great time everywhere he goes. But there was a comment from a mother that didn't we know there were places for kids like that.
Wow.
And
yet in early childhood, there's not a huge gap.
There's not a huge gap. No, you've got the kids coming through who have got the speech problems, kids who've got undiagnosed hearing problems, sight problems. They're all still coming to the surface.
Yeah.
But because Down syndrome is so visual, you look at him and you see the syndrome first.
Yeah. Even in early childhood, there was some negativity and resistance.
Yep, negativity, resistance.
You made a decision for Brody not to go to the local primary school.
Yeah.
And
I had meetings with the school, and we didn't come away feeling like it was going to be the best place for Brody.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. And we decided, we went from a meeting there to 2 days later, a meeting with the principal at Peterborough, which is a SSP.
Yep.
And his words were just like an epiphany to me. His words were, my staff have chosen to teach children with special needs. My staff are trained to teach children with special needs.
Yeah.
And he felt that everyone deserved to live in society. Some children, some adults will need extra learning, extra teachings to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And he felt that his school could give that to Brody.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm all for the special needs. And I know now that a lot of the schools are going to be pushing again to have inclusion, which we have tried before.
Yeah.
And it didn't go so well.
Yeah.
And Brody's a 21-year-old illiterate man.
Yeah.
So if he was a 13-year-old illiterate pubescent boy, he would have been hell to those teachers in a classroom with 29 other students.
Yeah.
And as a parent of 2 regular children,
Yep.
I wouldn't have wanted Brody's behaviours in the same classroom as my girls. I don't think that's fair.
Yeah.
I don't think that's fair to the other kids in the class. I don't think that's fair to the teachers, and I don't think it's fair to Brody.
Yeah. From my perception, Brody has probably achieved more by going to Peterborough.
Yes.
Because he got really individualised instruction.
That's right.
Tailored
to
him. And we should point out, people with Down syndrome, there's a wide range of intellectual capacity as well. So Brody hasn't learnt to read. He did learn his letters.
Yes, he knows all his letters.
Yeah.
But he just could never go
So
to
it probably does depend on each individual circumstance.
It does.
So with inclusion, you feel that your views, your personal views, are actually a little bit running against the tide.
Yeah, I do.
Most people are pro inclusion, and that would mean, attending mainstream school.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brody was a serial absconder as well, so he would have just run right at Gerringong. He would have been in the creek. He would have been at Campbell's.
The other thing is too, he would have run to houses nearby whom he knew, and also who he didn't know.
That's
another story.
That's another story.
I guess we've come a long way because at least we have choices now.
That's right.
And we can choose what we feel as parents is going to be the best thing.
Yeah, we do have those choices, but when you're making those choices, I personally think that your choices are all put in front of you. This is what you can have, this is what you can have. But if you go down that path, that's going to be really, really hard work.
Yeah.
And going down this path, it's just going to be really hard work.
Right.
I think the whole inclusion, and maybe one day it'll be different.
Maybe.
But I can't see it because I can't see humans changing that much.
I think that perhaps humans, it's a slow process.
Oh,
because that text message I sent you, I should have put on the end of that. Because I said something like, I'll put it up on our Facebook. Brody has helped change our community, one person at a time, and I should have said including me. Yeah, because it is, and it's unfortunate that you guys have had to be one of the families that have had to break that ground because it hasn't been easy.
No, it hasn't been easy.
I think that inclusion also, for children that there's no intellectual or cognitive delay, perhaps there's more argument as well to be able to attend mainstream.
Oh, definitely.
Because the gap between where they are,
that's right,
with their chronological, like same age peers, is not the issue.
That's right. Yeah. And I think inclusion, and in hindsight, looking back now, it would have been nice if Brody had have maybe gone to kindergarten.
Oh, really?
With kids
Why
in
do you say that? Why do you say that?
Just because he was at preschool with them, and
and the gap would not have been a big deal.
The gap wouldn't have been a big deal then. Yeah. And I also didn't send Brody to Peterborough until he turned 6 in the August.
Right. So he could have had that.
So he could have had, maybe that little bit. Little bit of time there.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? It certainly reflects that there are lots of perspectives and we need to be able to consider everybody's perspective. Everybody's got a point of view.
That's right. And it's a hard thing as well. At work one day, and it was when Blake, a friend of mine who also has a child with Down syndrome, and they were going to the local school, and in the hairdressers, two teachers sitting there, and one comment to the woman beside her was, if they expect me to learn sign language, they can think again, it won't be happening. And this child was non-verbal. He needed sign, he needed Compic, he needed... And these teachers weren't interested. So how then do you include your child and send them off every morning knowing that two staff members didn't want to know how to communicate with him? So me being a couple of years behind with Brody was like, oh, that's too scary,
You want your child to be wanted.
That's right.
Anyway, well, it's all very interesting and certainly sparks debate, and I think helps us all to understand that there are different points of view. I think it's great that we've got choices. We've still got a long way to go.
We've got a long way to go.
And the resources to be able to put things in place to
That's
make
right.
it equitable for everybody.
Yep, that's right.
Hi, hope you've enjoyed our chat and stay tuned for the next one.